All right, let's get our guest speaker up here live. But let me give you a little introduction to our guest speaker, those that have never heard her before. She's a traditional business owner. She's a wife. She's a mom. She's a volunteer at our community. She serves in the Chamber of Commerce on the board of directors. She also takes care of her ailing dad, and who lives with her now. She made regional vice president in 3.5 years. She is a amazing lady to be around. Her and her husband, Mr. Brad, are dear friends. Without further ado, can we give a warm welcome, gang, to none other than Regional Vice President, Ms. Keri Roeder.
Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving week. Super excited for this week. And again, Mr. Thomas, it's just always such an honor when you ask for me to have a moment to speak with everybody. It's just one of the things that I am grateful for. As we all know, right, we don't take Mr. Thomas for granted. Matter of fact, we use him as a tool. So definitely tonight when he does his effective presentation, make sure you are using that man as a tool and you're doing the work to get all his free iPads and all the stuff he gives away. So appreciate everything about you. Brad already took off this morning, but he says hello, so you won't be seeing him creeping in today's window. So I know that my kiddo hopefully is awake by now and is going to drive home for Thanksgiving. So I know that many of us have loved ones driving to come and see us for the holidays, or maybe you're going to be driving yourself. Please be safe. Sending out prayers for everybody for safe travels. God has my daughter bubble wrapped in angels. So it's going to be it takes 6.5 hours without holiday traffic. So we'll see how long it takes my kiddo to get home. But I know a lot of us are in that same anxiousness to see our family we haven't seen in a long time. So excited for all of you for when you do see them. Okay, so today's topic is kind of a continuation of what we've been talking about all month, in that I'm also getting a call, in that how are we branding ourselves? Okay, so for many of you, you're new and this is your very first holiday season. For some of us, we've been around for a while, and so there's kind of two conversations I'm going to have today, hitting both the people who are new and this is your first holiday season, and then those of us who've been around for a while, and how are we going to manage ourselves during the holiday season? So you are now a business owner, and we talked about it last week about branding yourself. Okay, so how are you branding yourself? How are you showing up? Because that matters, you guys. It really matters on if people want to do business with you, whether it's support you become a customer or whether they want to go into business with you. So looking at my notes here, we kind of talked about this a little bit last week. In branding ourselves, how are you showing up? Are you showing up? Are you being positive? Like Mr. Al Thomas, you're like, maybe you're not to that level of excitement, but if you're not, you definitely need to raise your level of excitement. And if you're showing up in any capacity in a negative way, I'll tell you right now, people will not want to do business with you. And I get it. The holidays can be stressful for people and all of that. And so here's what I want you to kind of put a mindset cap on, okay? If you know that some people have a hard time during the holiday season and you're looking to be attractive, would you agree you'll be more attractive if you put on a smile and a positive attitude, even if you don't feel that way on the inside? And this is a whole nother topic on mindset and attitude, behavior and all that. But if the holidays are hard for you, I still want you to do your best to put a smile on your face and be positive in every single conversation, because you don't know which conversation will be the conversation to lead you to the success you're looking for. And if you're negative in any way, they're not going to want to do business with you. So how are you showing up? How are you branding yourself? Do they know that when you walk into a room, you light up a room because you're so positive? Or do they know that when you walk into a room, right, Mr. Thomas? Or when you walk into a room, are you bringing the room down? Which person do you want to be? How do you want to be branded in your business? Because you are now in business for yourself. Okay, so how are we going to interact at different holiday parties or dinners, events, etc.? Okay, so for those of you that are new, if you might likely run into somebody at a holiday event whether it's this Thanksgiving or in the December season, that maybe doesn't know that you do ACN. Okay. What you don't want to do is vomit all over them. Okay. You still want to create that curiosity. You can say things like when they say, hey, what are you up to these days? Because that's the common question, right? They want to catch up. You can say something like, oh my gosh, I just partnered with somebody who's super amazing in business. I'm doing it part-time around my blah, 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 say your job or whatever your business is. And then leave it at that. Say, hey, you know what? Now's not the right time, but I do want to tell you all about him or all about her, whomever it is you're promoting. And then kind of get out of the conversation and then follow through down the road. Okay. So don't vomit. Now, in theory, those of us who've already been through a holiday season, everybody we know, everybody we meet during this holiday season already knows that we do ACN, right? They already know this. Now let's talk about how you're going to brand yourself. Again, if the world is negative, right? We say go against the grain, right? So if the majority of the world is negative and you're positive, you're going to stand out. They're going to remember you. And that was my conversation last week with giving away gifts. You want to brand yourself. You want to stand out. Okay, so you show up to an event or a dinner party or whatever, right? And in theory, everybody knows what you're doing. You're going to get questions like, what have you been up to? Those kinds of things. How are you going to answer? I want you to predetermine your answer in, yes, Sam Foster, we remember you. But I want you to predetermine your answer, okay? So that you're not fumbling around trying to figure out how you're going to talk about your incredible ACN business. Now, somebody is likely to ask you, are you still doing that thing, right? And they're going to name it whatever you're marketing. Are you still doing that healthcare thing? Are you still doing that phone thing? Are you still doing that energy thing? How you answer matters. How you answer, not just your words, but how you answer. Okay, so let's say, for example, right, Mr. Thomas, or I'll use Kathy Williams, okay? Kathy's not in ACN. She's my friend. I show up to a holiday party. She's like, what have you been up to? I'm like, oh my gosh, my life is so great. It's been really exciting. And she says, I'm like, you still doing that phone thing, right? Or even if she says it positive, hey, are you still doing that phone thing? How you answer matters, not just what you say. So if I say, of course I'm doing that phone thing, Kathy, with an attitude, what do you think she's going to do? She's going to be like, wow, okay, rude. Okay. She goes, are you still doing that phone thing? Oh, Kathy, I totally am. You know what? It's super exciting. Now's not the time to talk about it, but yeah, of course I'm doing it. I will always be doing it, or whatever your answer is going to be. You want to be pre-prepared, and you want to make sure that you're articulating it. You're using tones, your tonation, your body language that is positive. Okay, because again, you're still looking to attract these people to come into your business, whether it's customers or business partners. So how you answer matters. I want you to read your audience and I want you to read your room. Okay, so imagine you're at an event and it's a big social mixer thing, right? And there's just everybody around talking, and somebody walks up, hey, how's it going, Sam? Oh my gosh, what are you up to these days? Are you still doing that phone thing? And Sam's like, yeah, absolutely, buddy, man. It's going great. If you get a positive response from from your audience, and you read the room and you know it's just a social thing, that's an opportunity to go, man, listen, we've been started traveling again. We've been to Florida. We've been to Texas. I cannot begin to tell you how amazing it's been. And then you give a little snippet, and then again, you read your audience. Now, I talk about my daughter a lot, as you all know, okay? And whenever I see people, I'm like, oh, my pretty baby. I mean, she's 19, but you know how some people just drone on and on about their kids, and you're like, I don't care. And you look at the pictures like, yeah, cute baby. Read your audience. If they're no longer interested in hearing about how positive you are in your ACN opportunity, move on. If they're like, wow, cool. What do you mean you've been to Florida? What do you mean you've been to Texas? What do you mean you're going, or are we going back to Texas? Right. So read your audience. If they're wanting more information, give them more information. Keep it all positive. Keep it all upbeat. Because again, you're looking to be attractive. Now, in reading the room, let's say you're at a dinner party, okay, and you're at a table of 8 or 12 or whatever. right? And it's music's in the background, but it's a small enough group that everybody can basically hear everybody else's conversation. And let's say somebody across the way from you says, "Oh my gosh, Sharon, what have you been up to? Are you still doing that ACN thing?" And somebody else at the table's all, right? Read the room, read the audience. Matter of fact, I am. Gosh, I'm still working with that Mr. Al Thomas. He is still crazy successful, having a blast. But you know what? How are you, Bob? Like, what's up with you? Like, change the subject, because if you know somebody is going to spit fire at you in a negative way, don't put yourself in that position to receive it. Just move on and then follow up later with the person who was positively inquiring about how you're doing and your environment. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, so as we're engaging with people during the holiday season, look for opportunities. So I'm going to tell you two recent scenarios a couple days ago that has happened to me. So I was on a phone call with somebody, and through this I don't know her. I met her through a volleyball thing, and through this conversation, she says to me, "Blah blah 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 blah. I actually started a nonprofit 10 years ago." And she said, before COVID, we did an annual event at the Ritz-Carlton in Pebble Beach, and we cleared 70 grand just at the silent auction table. And I'm like, ding, 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 right? And I was like, "Oh, really?" I said, "Well, the business I actually do, one of the services we have is actually merchant services. Do you mind if I connect you with my rep? I guarantee you we can save you money on your service." She goes, "Oh, absolutely." She goes, "We use Square. And the only reason why we use Square is out of convenience." And I was all, okay. And then she went on to explain, with COVID, they stopped getting together. Now they're doing monthly donations. But 2024 is going to be their first live in-person big event again. So I'm connecting her with Christina at Sphere to do a quote to see if we can't land that account, provide them a better value, right? Because it's a nonprofit, right? Mr. Thomas, I'm so excited. I'm like, 70 grand in one night. Anyway, and then I'm sure we'll collect all of the $1,000 plate dinners, like whatever, right? But listen for opportunity. If you're always listening for opportunity, always listen. Sometimes I think we get so focused on recruiting, we forget that we talked about this the previous month that I got to talk about having your own 75 personal points right away so that you don't miss out on anything, but work your way towards the 200. How did I fit? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you get to 200? One customer at a time. So if you're always listening, we provide value to different people in different ways. Okay. So here's the other thing. We do a good job in getting this nonprofit thing for her. What I realized is she's a traditional business owner. So I'm going to do this one bite at a time. We're going to provide excellent service for her nonprofit. And then I'm going to be able to follow through and say, "Hey, would you be at all interested in looking at it for your traditional business?" And she'll say yes or no, whatever, based on her experience. And then from there, I can go, "Hey, by the way, I know you're super busy, and then I can do the recruiting process." But if you're always listening for opportunities will arise. Okay. Another thing. Okay. So for those of you who are new, I think I picked up on this just because I've been doing network marketing for 13 and a half years. So just kind of always be aware of your language. I was telling somebody, unless I've had a drink, I'm super articulate and I'm super mindful. Some of you have seen me drink. Super mindful of what it is I'm saying, especially if I'm in business mode. Okay. If I'm in business mode, I know exactly what I'm saying, who I'm saying it to, how I'm saying it, because I'm in business mode. Okay. So I was meeting with a woman from volleyball and to collect something. And I just, "Hey, there's a Starbucks, blah, 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 just meet there." Oh, and by the way, Mr. Thomas, it has been lovely weather. I was going to tell you this, that I've been driving with my convertible top down every day because it's been beautiful. But I'm home, so you get me in this. Anyway, but so I show up and she's like, "Oh, do you want to get it going in and have a drink?" And I had errands to do. I said, "No." I said, "Well, do you want to go?" And she goes, "Yeah." So anyway, so we go and she goes, "Let me buy you a drink, Starbucks." And I was like, "Oh, okay, fine." So we get it. We sit down, we start to visit. And we're visiting and visiting and visiting. And turns out her daughter also lives on the same stretch of beach where my daughter lives the next set over. I was like, wow, trippy. So as we're talking, she goes, oh, by the way, and then she starts to pitch me on her new network marketing business she does. That, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, that prepaid credit card thing, whatever that is. And I just heard about it. I go, oh, yeah. I said, I think I've heard about that. She's, and she was stumbling, but it was oh, by the way, okay, no, lady, you bought me a cup of coffee. You wanted to sit me down because you had something in mind, and again, when it comes to business, I'm a shark. When it comes to fun, I'm a dolphin. But when it comes to business, I'm a shark. Don't mess with the sharks. Like, we'll eat you up in that. If you know you have a shark in front of you, that's not a good approach. Just come out and say it, right? Just come out and say it. Hey, listen, I want to buy you a cup of coffee. Got something to run by you. That would have been I didn't waste 20 minutes, but you know what I mean? Would have saved me 20 minutes of time to get to the reason why she wanted to buy me a cup of coffee. Anywho, so she brings this up. Oh, by the way, blah, 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 blah. And so my response to her was, yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'll consider becoming your customer, but I'm going to tell you right now, I will not do it as a business. She goes, oh, why not? I said, well, actually, I do network marketing. The company is called ACN. I'm coming up on 14 years, and I don't look right. I don't look left, but I'm happy to take a look at it, what you're doing, to see if I can support you in becoming your customer. She goes, oh, well, what's ACN about? And I was like, oh my gosh, because she says about residual income. So I was like, actually, most people think they have residual income, but in reality, it's not. I said, what we have is true residual income. I said, I got started in 2010. It was Saturday that we were meeting. I go, today I got paid on customers and work that I did back then. She's all, oh, I go, yeah, it's a phenomenal way to make money. And I said, and it's in services. It's services everybody already pays. So now she started recruiting herself. She goes, well, I would love to sit down and take a look at it. I said, well, absolutely. I said, tell you what, I gotta go. I gotta do some errands, but why don't we meet here next Sunday? And I said, we can pitch each other. You can pitch me on yours. I'll see about supporting you become a customer, and then I'll share with you the ASIN opportunity to see if you want to become a customer, or since you're looking for extra income, maybe you want to do it with me. She goes, that would be great. Well, there's another volleyball mom that I had recruited that I invited onto a Zoom a while back, and she never got on. And then she ghosted me, obviously. And I said, hey, you're good friends with Sony. I said, why don't you invite her? She goes, that's a good idea. As we were standing up, she goes, you know what? I'm thinking of another friend. Is it okay if I bring somebody? Absolutely. Right. And so then I get home and I'm telling Brad. Brad goes, so wait a minute. Like, those ladies are going to hear her pitch about her business and then hear your pitch about ACN. I go, yeah, she's first. She's going to be like, oh, credit cards, you can link your bank accounts. And I flat out told her when she said that, I said, I'm not linking my bank accounts to your thing. Like, what? Are you insane? What normal person with money would link their bank accounts? Ew. But she's going to do her pitch, and then I'll do my pitch. And guess who's going to win? I'm going to win, because ACN is a better pitch, right? It's a better program. And part of what she was telling me too, she was like, yeah, the guy didn't want to do it, but he convinced me. And I said, oh, I don't convince. So I did that whole, like, you want it, you like it, I'll do it with you. And I don't convince. And she was like, oh, thank you for not being convincing. I'm like, no, I really don't care. If you like it, great. If you don't, cool, no worries. We can still be friends. How do you brand yourself? How do you show up? Do you show up with confidence? Do you show up knowing how you want to be received? Do you show up struggling with your words because you didn't pre-plan them? You are now in business for yourself. If you owned a retail business, I would like to think, this is what I did when I had a retail business. I had a script when they answered the phone. I had a script when they walked through the retail doors. I had a script when they were interacting. So it was a pre-known thing. How are you building your business? Okay, and then I want to wrap up today's conversation with talking about cold market recruiting. Okay, like we talked about, Mr. Tom was so excited, go to the dollar store and go to Hobby Lobby, because you meet all kinds of people when you're out doing these things. Listen, and we can talk about this more next week, but when you're out there during your holiday time, how are you cold market recruiting? My big joke is this, and it's not really a joke, it's actually really true. I pick the worst lines every time. I think God knows that I have time, like to just chill, or makes me want to chill, right? Because I'm always like, okay. I always pick the wrong line. So I always tell the sucker behind me, oh no, you ever see me in a grocery store line or Macy's or whatever? You don't want to get behind me. I always pick the wrong line. Hands down, most of the time, every time, pick the wrong line. But what I'm doing is I'm engaging in conversation. So when you're out there doing your holiday, whatever it is you're doing, whether it's grocery shopping, present shopping, whatever, right? Shopping for yourself. How are you interacting with other people? Are you being positive? Again, if majority of the world is negative, are you being positive? Are you being attractive? Are you giving them compliments? And by the way, don't be fake. Golly, just be honest, right? If you think their shoes are ugly, don't compliment their shoes. Find a reason to give them a compliment. If you like their hair, whatever, find a reason to give them a compliment. Find a reason to engage in conversation, and then read your audience, read the room. If they don't want to engage with you, cool, no worries, move on. If they do want to engage with you, ideally they're behind you in line and not in front of you in line, because if you can get them to wait, you want to exchange numbers. Listen, we're at Bel Air. This isn't the time to talk about, I gotta go, I gotta run over to the bank, or whatever you're doing next, right? And hey, let's exchange numbers. I'd be happy to get you this information and introduce you to the people I'm working with, et cetera, et cetera. We can talk more about it another time because it's 9:30. But my point of today is continuing the conversation of branding yourself, because you're in business for yourself. How are you showing up? Are you being with a smile on your face and a positive statement, going against the grain that everybody wants to complain, right? If you're going against that grain, you might be that shining light that they're looking for. One of the things that I did say to the gal, the volleyball mom who recruited me, I'm recruiting her. She was saying Sony's going through a hard time in her life right now because of her relationship with her husband. And my reply was, you know what's great about the ACN opportunity and environment is we become friends, we become family, we become super supportive of each other. Because I was listening, I knew how to reply about why it would be a good environment for somebody to be in. So hopefully this makes sense. Just ultimately be positive, have a smile on your face, be engaging, read the audience, read the room, know where you are, and don't vomit on people, and follow through in the very, very end. And next week when I talk, maybe we can have a little bit more of the conversation about cold market recruiting while being out and about during the holiday season. But as always, Mr. Thomas, Brad and I love you, respect you, just have so much gratitude for you and everything that you have done with us over the last 13 years and will do for us for the next, let's see, I'm 50, so 50 more years now. But just appreciate you, love you, and grateful for all of you, whether I've met you or not. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to engage in conversation. And when we see each other we're going Dallas, wherever we're going, wherever that is, Dallas. Please, if you can, come find me. I'm 5 foot tall, but somehow I'm found a lot. So please come introduce yourself to me, and I would love to be able to hug you and meet you in person. And turn the call back to you.